This
definitely cool.
conference will now be recorded.
Because you guys you have studied this industry, but I basically come from a hospitality background, and I want to get into this thing. And I'm in Canada from 2012. I
Hmm.
basically belong from Mumbai or whatever, but this is going to be like a scratch level for me, like
Hmm.
how you guys have studied, and like how you take sessions and everything. And I got your reference from Mahinder, and
Hmm.
one of a guy, he's my roomie over here in Canada. So
Okay.
definitely, I know you're way along with your sessions and everything with other guys, but kindly suggest me what exactly do I have to do to get into this field, and where do I start from my scratch level, and I'll be supportive with that.
Yeah. So let me be very clear. As I said, the first four sessions are of completely of theoretical part. This is for the people who doesn't know anything about success factors.
Totally,
Okay.
totally,
So
totally.
why we have included all of these things into of the course content is there are many people who want to learn success factor, who want to get
Exactly.
into success factors. No, before you get into success factors, we cannot make you jump into success factors in no one big jump. No,
Totally
so
ready.
we'll slowly, yeah, we slowly take you to the success factors application with the basics, like what we do as a consultant when
Absolutely.
you get into success factors. Now we not do every day the configuration, we do a lot of things in our daily life. So we'll be discussing those things, okay, which are required to be known for every consultant. Okay,
Absolutely.
so
Okay.
this is the third session. So I'm just giving you about a
Please
new
go ahead.
topic. Today's, yeah,
Please go ahead.
today's
Yeah.
topic is the partnerage, and we can talk more whatever doubts that you have. If you can know if you got the video recordings, that's fine. You can go through them, and
Okay.
if you didn't get, take those recordings, and you can watch them to
I can
two
do
or
that.
three videos. Okay,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Sure.
If you have any doubts, yeah, you can always come back to me. So don't
Sure.
worry about your background. So for your knowledge, I'm telling you, even I'm from a hospitality background. I'm purely, I was some time back in 15 years, I did my graduation in hotel management. Okay,
Oh,
but
same
I
here.
was into,
So, okay.
yeah,
Got it. Got it.
I
Okay.
was into chefing. I was working as a chef for a couple of
Okay.
years, and then come back to its technology. So
Okay.
don't worry, anybody can learn success factors. No,
Got it. Got it. Got
the
it. Got it.
okay, yeah,
Okay.
okay. So once you log into Partner Edge, we have products, and then human capital management. You have Success Factors HXM suite. Go to Success Factors HXM suite. From here, we went to products, human capital management, HCM. Okay, so people call it SAP HCM, right? So HCM is the HR application generally. And under HCM, we have the success factors. Under success factors, we have here different tabs about market, sell, build, implement, and all. So we'll see all the documents related to the implementation. So click on implement. And then we want to see the tools that we use or the assets of success factors application. So go to tools and assets. Implement tools and assets. Scroll down, and here you see explore implementation resources by SAP SuccessFactors solution. Now, you people will not be able to log into Partner Edge because you're not associated with any implementation partner. Maybe some of you, if you are already working for any of the partners like IBM or Accenture or Capgemini or Cognizant, either in SAP or some technology where you have the S, SAP S user ID, sorry, S user ID, then you may be logged into partnerish. Otherwise, if you are not associated and if you don't have S user ID, you'll not be able to log into partnerage. Then click on explore. Now, success factors has got a lot of modules, and the module what we are discussing is the core module. It comes under core module. So under core HR and payroll, so these are the areas of success factors. And other than this core HR, we also have talent management modules like performance management, compensation, learning, onboarding, recruiting, and so on. So all of them are here. So we want to go and see the documents related to Employee Central. So the first one, what you see here is SAP Success Factors Employee Central. I click on Employee Central here. You see here top assets. These are related to the implementation and training assets. Implementation and administration guides. All the documentation, the one what I was showing yesterday, the Employee Central Implementation Guide, the main document. Okay, it's of 300 plus pages. Okay, so after every release, SuccessFactors updates all of the configurations into the implementation guide. So you can go through that implementation guide. So those guides related to the configuration can be found here in implementation and administration guides. Okay, now I've opened in a new tab. You go to implement here, you'll see all of the documents. Now within Employee Central, we have lot of areas or we have different areas. So if you are looking for one particular area, okay, there are some big big areas like business rules. Okay, big areas like workflows. Okay, so areas like your concurrent management or global assignment. So we have all of these are covered in implementation Employee Central Core. And additionally, if you want to have in-depth knowledge or more information about those areas, we also have them here. Like you have global benefits, document generation, uh, implementing dependents. So all of these are also related to Employee Central Core only. Okay, so either you can go download these, okay, for in-depth knowledge, or the main thing that you need is the implementing Employee Central Core. Now, when I click on implementing Employee Central Core, it opens up the document. Now, this can be downloaded into PDF. So after every release, they update this document. Okay, so let me show you the version. Let me download this. You can download this document. You see here. Document version, you see here 2H 2022. It got updated on 9th December. So every 6 months, whenever there is a change in the product, whenever the product gets updated, SAP includes those updates. Maybe some configuration has been changed. Okay, maybe the screens might have been changed, maybe some configurations have been removed. Okay, so all of those things would be included into the implementation guide every 6 months, so that now, because we'll be referring to this document while configuring the success factors application to customers. Okay, so it gives you all information about the configuration. So if I scroll down, okay, okay. It starts from here, overview of Employee Central. So this configuration document is very useful for us. Oh, I'll be sharing you this document. It is worth printing and referring every day. Okay, this is the only one document which I now propose you all to now take take a printout of hard copy, because I know if it is a soft copy, you will hardly open it and read through it. But if you have a hard copy, you can always refer this document. Okay. Now it says the recommended implementation sequence. Success factors recommends us to follow this particular sequence. So every implementation that we work, or for every customer that we work, we do all of these steps and in the same sequence. You see here, there are stepwise configuration, stepwise configuration. So you go here, click on step, it explains you what is to be done, what is to be done, where should we go, and all of this is available in implementation guide. So all of those documents related to the implementations and the administrations can be downloaded through partner edge. Now it will take you through help.sap again, but the actual route is from the partner edge. So that's on implementation and administration guides. Second is the configuration workbook. This is very important again. Configuration workbooks are very, very important. Now, for every implementation, you will have to download this configuration workbooks from Partner Edge and share it with the customer. So let's see what do we have in configuration workbooks. For Employee Central, these are the configuration workbooks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So we may not need all of these 7 configuration workbooks because not every customer will use benefits. Not every customer use position management. So other things every customer will use: foundation objects, employee data, HR transactions, employee data workbook, and people central hub. These the people central hub, this is a combination of all of these things. So at least the 4 or 5, these are the important ones. Okay, so let's go and download one of it and see what is it. So I'll download all of them. I have the copies of all of these documents. So if I open this, what exactly is configuration workbook and why we have to share it with the customer? Now, these configuration workbooks talks about the system configuration. What is to be configured in the system? Now, success factors gives us the standard functionality. So every customer will have the same product, the same application. Now, when we subscribe, let's say I'm a customer, when I subscribe for success factors, okay, so the base application will have a lot of functionalities, lot of features. Okay, so if I go to SuccessFactors application here, now Employee Central is all about maintenance of employee data, starting from hiring of employee till firing of employee. Again, if the employee is to be rehired after termination, so data is still available in the system. Okay, but whatever that we do between your hiring and firing is done in the employee central. So when you hire any employee into the system, you capture a lot of information, you gather a lot of information from the employee and store it in the database. Now what is this information? This information is split into different blocks, or we call them portlets, like a personal information. Now HRs or anybody who log into SuccessFactors, if we have to look at employee's profile, okay, now all of the data should be available in one single page, and that single page is called employee files. So if you go to employee files, you can search for any employee and see all the information related to employee. Now when I say all the employee information, this information is now split into different blocks and portlets, like the personal information. Now within personal information, we have some fields like first name, last name, gender, salutation, etc. Now you see here, this is your personal information. So we have these fields. So every employee, we need to maintain this data. Now some fields are blank here. Suffix, we don't have any data. Middle name, we don't have any data. Okay. Attachment, we don't have any data. Blood group, we don't have any data. So that means there are some fields which are mandatory, some fields which are optional. We can maintain if you have the data. We can leave the field blank if you don't have the data, but there are some mandatory fields which you have to maintain. Without having the data maintained, system will not allow you to save the record. So what are those fields? Now if I go look at those fields, okay, so when you try to maintain data into these fields, the system shows you what are those fields which are mandatory. So the star, what you see, this is
Benu,
mandatory.
uh,
Yes, go ahead.
yeah, this data will while the hiring the employee, onboarding consultant will maintain this data, right?
No, it is not the onboard. See, every customer will not use recruitment module or onboarding module. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so there are some customers who are not using recruitment and onboarding, who are using only Employee Central. There are some customers who are using RCM and Employee Central. There are some customers who are using RCM, onboarding, and Employee Central. Okay, so I'll tell you the differences. Now, RCM is recruiting module or recruitment. In the recruitment, what do we do? Recruitment, this is a separate module again. Okay, in recruitment, the recruiters finds the open positions, see what are the vacant positions in the organization, and they convert the positions into a requisition. Okay, so requisition fetches all the data from the position, like what company that that candidate should be belonging to, or what location or what grade that we are going to hire. Okay, so all of that information you will fetch from the position to requisition. So this requisition is posted again. You have different postings like internal. You can post it internally. You can post it externally. You can post it to your friends, or you can post it to through email ID. So you post it and you get the candidates' resumes. Okay, candidates' profiles are sourced. Now you source the candidate. Now you process the candidate with interviews like first round, second round, third round, whatever rounds that you have. Okay. Now selected candidates are negotiated. Okay. And then again the selected candidates are offered. So this process till offering the offer letter is done in the recruitment. In this process, we must have collected, or we might have collected some information from the candidate. The details like the name of the candidate, the date of birth of the candidate, the basic details, education, and so on. So we don't collect all the information that is available in success factors. No, we don't collect all of the information because we don't know which candidate we are going to hire. So for each position, sometimes you'll see that 100 or no more than 100 candidates applying for one single position. So we don't have to capture all of the information of all the candidates. We only take the basic details. At each step, we may be collecting some information, right? So by the end of the offer letter, issuance of offer letter, you have some information already available in the system. Okay, basic details or the education or the background, the qualification or the experience of the candidate. Now once the candidate is offered, candidate some candidates may accept the offer letter, some candidates may reject the offer letter. So the candidates, the offered candidates, or the no the candidates who have accepted the offer letter may join the organization. On the day of joining, the HR or the HR operations, okay, somebody would be somebody would be maintaining this data in the system. Okay, now you already have 50 percentage of the information available in recruitment module. So all of the data that is available in recruitment module is pushed back to Employee Central, and rest of the information. Now here, maybe there are some fields which are mandatory in Employee Central, but not in recruitment. While sourcing the candidates, maybe that information is not required. So you have not captured it. The system has forwarded the data that is there in the recruitment to Employee Central. So the rest of the fields or rest of the data we update in Employee Central. That's about the recruitment and Employee Central. Then we also have one more module called onboarding in between recruitment and Employee Central. So after sourcing the candidate, once the candidate is candidate has accepted the offer letter, some organizations who uses onboarding, what they do is they send a link to the candidate to fill out the information. Okay, now this onboarding contains all the fields that are mandatory in Employee Central. Okay, now candidate has to update like all of those details like address details or contact information, education details, qualifications, or previous experiences. So all of this information is updated by the candidates in onboarding module. Now on the day of hiring, you the 90 percentage or 95 percentage of the data is available here in onboarding. So we get the data from onboarding to Employee Central. So this 90 percentage or 95 percentage of data is updated in Employee Central, and rest of the 5 percentage or 10 percentage, whatever is left, okay, which was not updated in onboarding module, like the compensation details or any other payments that are to be made. Now these are not maintained by the candidate. So these are to be updated by the HR operations in hiring process. Okay, so if there might be some customers who are not using recruitment module, who are not using onboarding module, they are using only Employee Central. So all of the information what we get from recruitment module, from onboarding module is to be updated manually in Employee Central. Okay, now if you don't have some information available at the time of recruitment or at the time of onboarding or at the time of hiring, we can skip that data. It is not again mandatory that every data has to be updated. Now, there are certain fields which are to be updated, but there are some optional fields as well. Okay, so those can be skipped, like education details. Now, I may not require education details. Now, if I don't have information available with me, I will still be able to continue with the hiring process. Okay, so you can skip that data, and that data can be maintained once the candidate becomes an employee. That means once the candidate is hired into the system and the employee logs in, they can also update the information. So that information you'll find it here in employee files. Now, if I go to personal information, this is a simple example. I go to personal information. So we have first name, last name. When you're hiring, you have to give the name of the employee. Without the name of the employee, you cannot hire any employee. So it won't allow you to save the record. So these fields are mandatory. And the other fields like middle name is optional, gender is optional, marital status is optional. So these are optional fields. Now we can make some fields mandatory, some fields optional. Some customers might say that, "Oh, I don't want to maintain last name or no last name as a mandatory because some employees have only one name. So I want only the first name to be mandatory." So you can go change the field's property from mandatory to optional. Now, some customers may say that I don't want middle name, instead I want to have initials here. Yes, you can go add the initial field. If you don't want, you can remove middle name. So some fields can be removed, some fields can be added. Now, all of these are standard fields. SuccessFactors gives you all of these fields. Now, some customers may come up with their requirement, saying that these fields what we have in personal information is not sufficient for us. We want to gather some more information from the candidate and update in personal information. Yes, success factors allows us to add the custom fields into the application. It could be into any of the portlet. Now within personal information, if I go see here, you still have 5 more fields. Now these fields are actually, these fields what you see here, blood group, date of birth, age. Now these are not standard fields. Now how do we know that these are not standard fields? Because these are the fields which I have configured, the custom fields. Now end user don't know whether it is a standard field or a custom field. They don't need to know that which is a standard field and which is a custom field. For them it is a field. Now, but consultant should know what fields we have in personal information, what are configured additionally. Okay, now this is captured in configuration workbook. So if I open configuration workbooks, the employee data workbook. Okay, I see here it contains, now firstly, the cover sheet. You'll have to maintain for which company are you maintaining the data, what is the go live date. Okay, and then table of contents, what all information do we have. So this contains all of these blocks or all of these portlets information. You see here personal info. You click on personal information, it takes you to the personal information. Now this document show tells you what are the fields that we have in SuccessFactors application. Now you see here system field. The first column what you see is system field ID. So every field what you see in the front end has got an ID in the back end. Okay, so last name, if I see here, if I see here first name or last name, so this is what you see in the front end, but the back end you have an ID which cannot be changed. You cannot change that ID. What you can change is the label what you see in the front end. Now it is showing as first name here. Now some customer, if they say that I don't want to show it as first name, I want to call it as initials, you can go change the label of this field first name. The ID remains same, but what you see in the front end, this can be changed. So that's the label. So this is the field ID, and second is the label what you see. SF label, you see it is showing as last name. In the back end, the field is maintained as, field ID is maintained as small l, last hyphen name, n is small. But the SF label, what you see in the front end is last name. And each of these fields are of different types. Now this is a field where you can enter some text. There are some fields which can be picked up from the drop down. You don't have to type the text. You can just pick the value from the drop down. This is called pick list. Okay, now there are some fields which allows you to input only number. Some fields allow you to input only text. Some fields allow you to only pick the date from the calendar. So there are different types of fields, and this type is maintained here, type. String means most of the fields, 90% of the fields are strings. Now string allows you to input text, allows you to input number. A string can be converted into a drop down as well. Okay, and the maximum length, it is 128 characters. Maximum length is 128 characters. That means here system allows you to input up to 128 characters. Now see here, it is allowing only 25 characters. Now standard field allows you to input up to 128 characters. Now this is changed. This is changed to 25 characters. Now, if your customer's requirement is to change it to only 20 characters, 30 characters or 100 characters, what your customer do is, now this document will be sharing it with the customer, and we'll have to explain what they have to do. So we'll tell them that, see, these are the fields what we have in personal information. Now last name is field is there. Now this allows you 128 characters. Now customer says, I want to have only 25 characters field, maximum length. This is the change. So highlight that field. Now, as a consultant, you have to take the configuration workbook from customer, see what are the changes that you have to do. In personal information, okay, the maximum length it is showing as 128. Now we have to change it to 25 characters because this is highlighted. So this highlighted, all of the highlighted fields, we have to configure it in the system. Customer label. Now, SuccessFactors is giving us as the last name. Now, what do you want? What your customer want to see it? If it is last name, if they want to see it as only last name, then they'll leave it blank, customer label. Or if they want to have it as, let's say, this one, instead of middle name, they want to have initials. So this is the change that they have to do, or surname. This is surname. So this is the change that we have to do. And visibility, this is showing up or not. Now, we have a field called business last name, which is not showing up here. There's no field called business last name. Standard SuccessFactors gives you this field, business last name, in the configuration, but this is not visible. Visibility you see here, none. Now, if your customer says, yes, I want to use this field, so they will go, they'll have to choose whether edit. Edit means front end users can go update the data. View means you can only view the data. You cannot update the data. So let's say I want to use edit. So this is the change what we have to do. Now you open configuration workbook, you see, you go to personal information. So these are the changes what we have to do. So consultants will go to the configuration page and configures these things. So each and every field of the portlets. Now, these are all the standard fields what we have in personal information. Apart from the standard fields what you see, we also have option of having the custom fields. You see, custom date 1 to 10, custom long fields 20, custom string fields 20. So you can have additionally 20 text fields into this portlet. If you feel, if your customer feels that the information what is available in the system is not sufficient, we can go and add all of these custom fields. So your customer has to give what do they want to have in that field, what do they want to maintain. Like here, blood group, what you see, don't have any blood group in actual no, the standard personal information block, but we have configured it. So they will have to give their requirement here. They'll have to insert, okay, and give all of that information. How many characters they want to have, what is the label that they want to do, what, whether it is editable or not, mandatory or not. Mandatory, yes means it is mandate. It is required field. Okay, visibility, edit. Clear? So similarly, for all of the other blocks or the portlets, what you see here, it could be biographical information, it could be job information, it could be comp information. So we have these fields. Yes, open to
So
questions.
will it be a string for, let's say, for a blood group O positive generally? So probably that will be a text entirely, or how is it mentioned? Can you show that once?
Now, let's say blood group is a field which your customer want to have in personal information, which is not part of
Right,
standard SuccessFactors application. Okay.
right.
Now you need to ask them Do you want users to update the text? Okay, generally, if you leave that field as a text field, what you'll do is,
Mhm.
if you have a value of O positive, now someone will type it as O positive this way. Someone will
Correct.
type it as O positive. This is also
Correct.
same. Someone will type
Right.
as
Oh,
this is also positive. Okay.
yes.
So this is also O positive.
Yes.
This is now if you open if you configure a field as a string, as a text field.
Correct.
If you are leaving it to employees to update, okay, so different people updates the text in different ways. Now, when you pull a data, when you pull a report of all the employees, now let's say some I want to know all the employees with O positive. Okay, maybe I need some blood, so I just want to see how many employees we have with O positive. So when I report it, it would be very difficult for me to find out the actual number. Which one should I consider? So I have to filter all of these people. So this is just for one value. Now, if I,
Correct.
instead of all of these values, now if I configure it as a drop down and I have given them values, okay, O positive,
Yes.
okay, O negative,
So what will be the type that we use? Let's say if we want to give it
it
as
is pick list.
like
It is pick list. It's called pick list,
quick list,
a drop down.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
user will only choose from the drop down. If you don't want to maintain, you can leave it as no selection. By default, you will have no selection. Only if you go, no selection is blank. Okay. Only if you go and choose the value from the drop down, user will have that value. So you'll find when you report the data, so you will find all the employees with this value only. You don't have to
Right.
filter on the other way.
Right. But that
Now,
apart, on that.
yeah, it depends upon the requirement, how or what field you want to have. Now, if customer says I want to have surname or I want to have initial, so there you
Mm,
cannot give a drop down. So it should be open field where user has to input the text. Now, maybe some employees have only one character. Some employees have maybe 2 characters or 10 characters or 20 characters. We never know. So we leave that as a string or a text field, open text field,
right.
right?
So basically, the type in the workbook, I just wanted to see what are the string and I just missed that part because due to my internet, string and what are
Yeah.
the other things
Now
that we
here we
use in
have
the type?
strings. Let me show you.
Yeah.
We'll also have
Sure.
date fields. Now you see here a Boolean.
Yes.
Boolean
Yes.
allows you to input yes or no. Boolean is a type of field which allows you to only choose either yes or no. That's a standard type. So
Okay.
if you select the data type of the field as Boolean, it allows user to only choose either yes or no from the drop down. That's Boolean. And then you have pick list. If it is a pick list, you see here marital status is a pick list. Now what pick list? What is the pick list? There are many pick lists in the system. But what values you want to
Correct.
have in the
Married,
drop down?
divorced, and all.
Here in the pick list in the column P, you see there is a field, there is a pick list called EC marital status. That means system has to go refer this EC marital status. What are the values that we have at the end of these all of these sheets?
Yeah.
Here you have pick list. So here you go search for EC marital status. See this one, EC marital status. Now this has got values of This one. So marital status field will have all of this in the drop down. Now maybe your customer might say that I don't want to see all of these values. I want to see only some, maybe single, married, widowed, and unknown. I just want to have only 4 values. So you can go just remove them. Or sometimes it may be possible that I want to have more additional values like salutation. If you see here, also have for salutation. Salutation, you only have these values, Mr., Miss, Mrs., and MX. I don't want to have MX. I want to have something else.
Yeah, doctor. I mean, you have
Yes,
you
it can be
mentioned
anything.
multiple.
Now, these are to be
Yes.
added into this pick list. So we have to go add all of these things. Now, whatever that your customer want to see, they have to maintain. Now they want to see here, let's say miss. This is the value that they want to have. So they will have to highlight this. Now all of these values exist in the system. You have to add this value to the existing pick list value. Or maybe some custom field what your customer is asking, the pick list is not available. So we have to create that pick list as well. So they'll have to
Okay.
give what values they want to see in that drop down. That is to be maintained here. Okay.
Right.
We can create the
Also,
drop
one more.
down for
Yes.
Yes, Sushil,
Let
please go
Mangala
ahead.
complete.
okay.
Yeah. Go ahead,
So,
Mangala. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, Mangala.
yeah, no, I mean this part I'm clear. So it's basically string boolean pick list. I'm sure of and date. That's it. This is
Hmm.
the only 4
Yes.
max.
And we also
Country
have
also I
something
see.
called we also have something now. Some fields by default they are the drop down values like country. Okay, so you
Mm,
don't have to tell the system. Country is a standard field, but if you want to use country field somewhere else where the standard success factors is not giving you, there you need to tell the system that go pick this country, go pick the values of the country from pick list. So you can define that.
right.
Yeah, basically, your either it can be a string or a string which allows you to text input text and number, date which allows you to pick from the calendar, pick list which allows you to pick from the drop down. And we also have something called foundation object. I'll tell you what is that.
Okay. And one last thing. I mean, a slight deviation to this. Probably my customers ask is on the reports to show the preferred name and last name combination. That you have all the fields, right?
Yes.
But then while reporting, the name should be, let's say, if it is uh, v v and my next name, or the combination, it varies. You have a preferred name field, right? So they have,
Yes.
if it's Laurent, Laurie, they call him Laurie.
Hmm.
Okay, for
Now,
instance. So they, yeah,
yeah,
so they
the
maintain that as a
system
Laurie. And they,
by default system gives you the name format. Now, if you see here, the name it is showing as Laurent Maulet K.
correct,
Okay.
correct.
Now this is not
First name,
stored
last name, and
anywhere.
middle name,
The
or
combination, yes, this
yeah,
combination is not stored anywhere. But we have
right.
something called name format, which system
Mm,
gives you. Now, some customers may say that I want to display the name of the person as last name, first name, and middle name. Some might say it as
correct,
last name, middle name, and first name, or first,
correct,
middle, and last. First, last. No, it can be any combination. Okay. So
right.
on the
Where do
display
you
name
define that?
we can set it. We can set that how to display that. That's one option. And when you want to have it in the report, okay, now
Right.
when you report on the fields, you can choose the list of fields from a particular portlet. But I don't have here the combination of first, middle, and
Preferred
last.
name you have, right? You have
Okay,
preferred
now
name. You
you
can take
have,
preferred name and last name.
now you see here preferred name we only have. Preferred name is same as your first name. Now, employee,
Correct.
now maybe the employee first name is Laurent, last name is Mauland K. There is no middle name. So there might also be for some employees, there is also a middle name. So preferred name, what it is doing, it is picking the first name. Now, what do you want to call? No, so
For
maybe
instance, as I said,
my name
Laurie.
is, no, my name is actually, yeah, Venu Kumar. Okay. So, but I want to call myself as Krishna, not Venu Kumar. So what do you
Okay.
do? Preferred name, I will go maintain it as Krishna. Okay. So I want to display my name as Krishna instead of Venu.
Right.
So I can also change this. So I can change the format here. Okay. Now, similarly, if you want, what do you want to display the name as? You can have something called display name field here. There's a standard field called display name as well. Okay. Where you can use the custom, rules. Like I want to concatenate first name, last name, and middle name and put it in one of the fields. Yes, that can also be done. Okay.
Okay.
You have here
But my question is, I mean, we can use, as you said, this. So, but then where do we change now? Let's say in my case, if I change simply the preferred name to some, let's say, instead of the first name, if I change it to and update the, you know, if I import with Lorry, or if it's a single change, I can edit and I can change the preferred name, for instance. So will it be directly showing in the display name also with the preferred name?
no.
I wanted to
What
see the notification.
what have you configured? I'll show you. This entire page is called people profile. Okay.
Correct.
Now under
Completely.
people profile, I see the name of the employee. So the name of the employee, what you see on the name of the employee is here you have choose the name format that you want to use. First name, middle name, and last name. What do you
Right.
want to use here? First name and last name,
Preferred, no, preferred
name,
name
first name,
and
last name, now initials, name, prefix, and birth name. So you can choose what is the preferred
no, I
format that
want to
you
choose
want to
preferred name and last name.
preferred name and last name. Now you go see here you don't have preferred name and last name. So you also
Right.
have option of choosing the different name format. I'll show you. I want to create new name format. So search for name format here. Now, what do you want to have? You want to have preferred name, right?
Correct.
So you go,
Preferred name and last name.
yeah, choose your preferred name. It should be here. Preferred name and last name. Okay, these are now which sequence you want to have first last name and then preferred name. You can just
No,
go up
first is
and
preferred name,
yeah,
and then the second is last name.
yeah. You save it. Okay. Now this is the name format that you want to choose. Now
So
see
whichever
here.
you keep it in the sequence, that will populate first, right? The preferred name
Yes.
is first name, first and okay. You need not number it or anything.
Yeah, you don't have to number anything.
Yes,
So
yes,
the
yes.
sequence in which you have maintained, that will show
Right,
up. Now here, same thing, configure people profile. Now something was not available. What I've done is I've created my own custom
right,
format. That you'll find it here. You see here preferred underscore last.
right.
Save it. Now there may be possibility that people have not maintained preferred name. Okay.
Right. So in case they have
Again,
not preferred the preferred
yeah, this
name,
is a yeah.
the ask is the first name will be displayed as preferred name only, like in our
Yes.
case.
Yes. Now,
So
since
that's the
the preferred
condition.
name is also Laurent, it is giving you the same thing.
Can you change this now? Let's check once. Edit the personal information.
Okay.
Put something as Laurie, Lauri, externally.
Now, there is a rule which is configured to set preferred name as a first name, then it will update. Okay, that's fine then.
Oh,
And see here, it is showing up as your preferred name and last name.
right.
Your
Now my
first name
next
is
question.
maintained as Laurent. Go ahead.
Correct. So my ask is, if you just now, okay. So automatically the first name is showing as Lauren, and the complete name it's showing as this name, and the preferred name is Laurie. Yes. So this is the ask. In case it is not overwriting the first name, if I'm wrong,
No.
it's only okay.
Hmm.
All right. Yes. Okay. Also, we can
Yeah.
have conditions, right? In case preferred name is left empty, the first name shall be copied to the preferred name also. So can we apply those conditions? Sorry if I'm deviating, but then this.
I'll show you since you have asked.
Otherwise, it looks a simple field, but then
Here, preferred name is not
mm,
available. I want to show the alternate name as first name.
first name. Right.
For whichever employee, if preferred name doesn't exist, it picks up the first name.
Right.
Yeah. Last name is a mandatory field for so every employee should have the last name. So you don't have to select alternate name there.
Correct.
If some field is mandatory, now you cannot give the alternate name. That not required.
Yeah. So if they want the blood group also to be made mandatory, that is
Yes, you can.
also can be changed in the workbook, right?
Yes, any field property can be
Sure.
changed.
Yeah. Thanks for this, Venu. But then can you just go to workbook once and show me the blood group field? So I missed that part.
Blood group is not a standard field. This is a custom field
Correct.
which we
It's a
have
custom
configured.
field, but then I wanted a custom mandatory while filling the people profile. So I want that field also to be.
Okay. So now if you see here, I have up to 20
Yes.
fields.
Right.
Give me a minute. I may have to
Yes. Yes.
charge my laptop. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Now this one, I'll just add it here. I want to use one field which is custom 2. This would be actually custom string only, standard label. Okay.
Right.
I want to have the label as blood group.
Correct.
This is pick list. So if it is pick list, you need to maintain the pick list here. So let's have created a pick
Right.
list called blood group. So that is to be added.
Right. Right.
This
Right.
one
Right.
should be, this is an editable field. Now your customer says it is a mandatory field. You have to set it to yes here. Now just because they are giving the data here, it won't be available in the system. This is to be configured by the consultant. This entire row, this is a custom field. Now this we have to configure it in the system.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Right. Again,
I'll show
manage
you.
business
We'll do.
conflict.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll
Okay.
do all of
I'll
those
not
things.
jump.
I'll show you.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, Sushil. Are your doubts done, Mangala? Move on. Can we move to
Yes. Yes.
others?
See again, if I
Sushil, go
start
ahead.
again, that
Yeah.
that will get again to next level. Yeah.
Sushil, you are asking something. Any doubts on configuration workbook? Subhadra, yes.
Yes, I have one doubt. Like, we have in SuccessFactor various module, like
Mhm.
onboarding, EC or recruitment. As you said, that data will automatically, come to EC once the
Mm,
recruitment team is finalizing one profile. So my
mm.
question is, how these sub modules are integrated? How data will come from recruitment to EC or suppose onboarding to EC?
Okay. One basic integration between success fact
Mhm.
within internal success factors modules. Okay. So it could be RCM, it could be PMGM, or it could be compensation, or it could be LMS. So all of these modules needs data from employee central, because if you go to recruiting or if you go to PMGM or any module, these modules should have the data of employee. Okay, like PMGM,
Okay.
if I am filling a appraisal template, my appraisal template, when I open, system will show my details, my basic details like my name, maybe my designation, or maybe the company that I'm working in or department that I'm working in. Or if you go to comp module, I'll find my salary details as well. So all of this information you're not maintaining in these respective modules. You're maintaining employee central, but system picks the data from employee central and shows you in these modules. Now you don't have to go again maintain the day your all of this information in RCM or PMGM or compensation. System picks the data. Now from EC to these modules and from these modules to EC, sometimes you will see that the data flowing from these modules to the employee central. Okay, so that can also be done either through custom integration, or now if something is not standard and if you want to pull or push from these modules to EC or from EC to these modules, we can do that as well. But the standard success factors given a sync is called HRIS sync. Okay, which will update.
Mhm.
Now this HRIS sync, there is a file called UDF, user data file. Some common fields which are required for all the modules, like first name, last name, your middle name, manager of the employee, employee ID, the hire date, the designation, or the company or the pay grade. So there are some fields which are required to be displayed in the other modules as well. So all of these fields are maintained in the UDF. Now, when you create an employee profile or when you hire any employee, system automatically picks all of these details and maintains it in the UDF. Again, you don't have to do it manually for all the employees. Okay, so as and when you maintain the data, system takes it to UDF. And from this UDF, system sync the data to the other modules. Now there is a scheduler which runs every day, or you can also schedule like if I keep changing the employee data every 4 hours. So you can schedule the job for 4 hours or 5 hours or 6 hours, depending on customer to customer. Usually it is set once in a day, so that every day, whenever there is a change in the data, system go finds the data. Let's say today I'm a manager. Tomorrow my designation is changed to senior manager. So your appraisal template or your compensation or all the other modules should also display my designation as senior manager only. Right. So system updates my data, what I have changed from manager to senior manager, that in the UDF file as well. And the all of these modules picks the data from UDF. Okay. Now, when you
Oh.
push the data from RCM to Employee Central or Employee Central to RCM, again, there is again configuration. Maybe you're using a lot of fields in recruiting. Okay, standard fields are a custom fields, but I want that data to flow from recruiting or onboarding to Employee Central. So you have integration like recruiting, onboarding integration or something like that. So there is a screen where you can actually map. onboarding integration setup. So you go map your onboarding field to EC. So this is done by the onboarding consultants. Okay. So which
Okay.
field of onboarding is to be mapped with which field of EC? Now, maybe you are using a field called first name in onboarding. So that doesn't mean that always the first name of onboarding field is synced with the first name of employee central. No, it can be a different one as well. So maybe you have named it as first name. How will system know that the field is to be mapped to your employee central first name? So that you will be doing it in the integration. Okay. Yeah. Any other doubts?
No, this part will cover when we'll start the configuration part, right?
No, onboarding, recruiting, from onboarding to recruiting, recruiting to EC. So these things we will not cover. But what we cover is from EC to any other module. If you want to send, how do you send that data? That we'll see,
Okay.
because we are
Okay.
looking at employee central module.
Yes, yes, correct. Okay, fine.
Yeah. Any other doubts?
Yeah, hi. When you go for the implementation, then
Hmm.
through the config workbook, we can give it to customer, right? And
Configuration workbook you need to download from PartnerJet,
uh,
share it with the customer.
yes,
Hmm.
yeah. Then customer will go through it. What are the
Customer will
fields
go
are
through it.
there?
Yes. Hmm.
Yes. Then
Hmm.
if they have any requirement like we have this in gender, we have this one to field more they want to add, they will keep changing that document only, right? Config
Yes.
workbook only.
They will change only the
Okay.
document. Now they'll change the documents, they'll share that document with us again. So we need to
Okay.
review, see what is to be configured, we go change it in the system.
Okay. Okay.
Hi Venu.
Yeah, hi.
The
No,
sheet
right.
you shown us,
Hmm.
that configure Excel kind of sheet. So that is from where we can get. That is only configuration workbook sheet you're talking about, right?
Yes.
So this is all well maintained in system, or we have to do
Yeah.
it?
All of the standard setup is already done in the system. So for every customer, when they subscribe for the SF application, you will get all of the standard ones what you see in the configuration workbook. All of this is available in the system by default. Only those changes what your customer want to have. Okay, now business last name field is available in the system, but it is not enabled. Or you see here, salutation is a field which is not available for all the customers because it is set to none here. You need to enable this for your customer. If a customer asks, I want to use this field, they'll have to go and make it edit. So you'll have to change the configuration. So by
Okay.
default also, these fields are available to be configured in the system, but system is not giving you by default in the profile. You
We
want,
have to do it
you use it.
accordingly.
Yes. Now there may be some fields which are not available in the system. So those can also be configured. Now
Just you
sometimes
show.
your customer may say that now the portlets what you see here, all of these portlets, these I want a different portlet itself. Now some information I want to store which is not available in SuccessFactor system. Yes, that can also be configured. Like I want to configure, I want to have the uniforms issued, let's say I want to track the uniforms issued to employees. Okay, data
Mm-hmm.
on the employee profile. So you can
Mm-hmm.
configure a custom portlet called uniforms and then know what fields you want to have uniforms. Maybe I want to see how many uniforms are issued or the color of the uniform or receipt, is it chargeable or not. So I want to have all of this information in that portlet. So you can configure that custom portlet as well.
modify accordingly.
Yeah,
So can
you
you
can
please
add.
show us
Go
from
ahead.
where we got that file again? Like I missed that part from where we.
Okay, so partner edge.
Okay, this one. Okay.
Okay, first I went to products, human capital management, and then success factors. I've chosen success factors. Okay, and then from there I have selected implement tools and assets. I'm going back now. Human capital management, success factors, HXM suite. Here, implement tools and assets, explore, employee central, and from here, configuration box.
Deep inside. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Anyway, we will get it after only we get
Yes,
connected with the implementation partner, then only, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so if you
Yeah,
don't have any
yeah.
other
Question,
doubts, we
one
can.
question. So
So
this
yeah, go ahead,
partner,
Akash.
the partner edge
Go
will
ahead.
be available once it is certified, right?
Yes, only for no certified consultants who are associated with one of the implementation partner. Implementation partners are those organizations who are authorized to implement success factors. Not everybody can implement. So today, if I let's say today I've started my own organization, my own company. So
Okay.
Venu IT Solutions. Let's say I've opened my company called Venu IT Solutions. I cannot go and directly implement success factors. First, I need to get license from SAP to
Yeah,
implement success
yeah,
factors for
yeah.
customer. So
Understood.
I will become implementation partner. If I hire you as my consultant, so I've hired Akash as the implementation consultant of SAP under Venu IT Solutions. So I will be giving you the ID, S user ID. Okay, I will be giving. Okay, so the company will give you the ID. So with that ID, you can go download the documents.
Okay. If I am not certified, still I
Hmm.
can go and use that, right?
Yes, you can still get
So
because
what is
you
the
have the
difference
partner
between
ID.
certification and non-certified consultant?
Yeah, certification. See, you can only download the content, but you cannot implement for customer. When you're implementing for customer, then you need the provision, the certification.
Certification provisional ID, right? Yeah.
Yes, certification provision ID. So if you don't have
The
certification, then
consultant
you will not be allowed to
modify
work on
any data,
projects.
right?
Yes, yes,
So this provisional ID is mandatory because so just we can have a limited access with the only
yes,
download and give it to the client which is needed. But when we
yes,
want to go
yes,
for the configuration, the provisional ID is mandatory, right?
yes,
Okay. Thank you, Akash, for the clarification.
yes. Your
Sorry.
ID will
Sorry.
be tagged to your certification ID, or the S user ID will be tagged to your partner ID.
Yes, yes, I understand.
Yeah.
So can we go with um, one consultant with multiple partner IDs?
One consultant with multiple partner IDs. Yes, you can.
Okay. In the same time.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank
Usually, that is again is a problem of moonlight, right? You cannot work for multiple companies at a time.
you. No, 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 not multiple companies. For
Yeah.
example, you're working for X company IT solution. It is
Hmm.
working for 3S EC implementation.
Hmm. Three projects. Now you don't need three different IDs to implement for three customers. You need only one ID.
Okay.
You're still working for one implementation partner, right?
Okay. With the implementation partner, we have this. Okay. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Partner ID is okay. With the implementation partner. Sorry. Okay. Fine.
Yeah, you can watch yesterday's and day before yesterday's. So you'll get yesterday's session. You'll get clarity on different IDs that we use.
Okay, okay, okay. We missed
Okay.
that part, right? I missed
Yeah.
that part. So that is the reason I is raising this question.
Yeah. No
Sorry for the
problem.
interruption. Not a problem.
Nope. No problem.
No, no, a business configuration is different. Manage business configuration for custom fields and all. But then portlet also, do you have
Hmm.
any, how do we, will you be covering that? So probably what is the transaction for, for creating custom portlet altogether?
So yeah, you'll have to wait for some more time to do that. So
Okay.
somewhere here, creating custom portlets, views, configure people profile. We'll be looking at that here.
Okay.
Manage
Okay.
configuration view.
Okay. Veman. Okay. Okay. Okay.
These are all part. These are all one part.
Yes. Okay.
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 So how many days this session will go?
24 sessions, not days. So
Yeah,
one
24
hour
sessions.
every 1 hour every session and 24 sessions.
24 sessions. Okay, thank you.
Okay. So we'll stop it here and we'll continue on Tuesday. So Monday we don't have session because of Pongal. I wish you all a very happy Pongal, whoever
Happy
celebrates
Pongal.
Pongal. Okay.
Yes. 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 Thank you. Thank you. One last thing before we wrap up. Maybe if you can throw some light on creating, you send that mail to the customer and then only that provisioning access would be enabled, right? So
Hmm.
they don't do it automatically. You have a specific format. If you can throw some light on that, that will also be good.
Yes, that is also part of our course content. It is there. We'll discuss that.
Oh,
How to
okay. Okay.
get provisioning access.
Correct. Correct.
Introduction to
Okay.
provisioning, we'll discuss that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay then. Thank you all. Have
Thank
a
you.
Thank
great
you.
weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Happy.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Happy Pongal.
Thank you. Bye.